Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week. And halfway through, we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. And we've spun it off into its own thing. We're at number 34. How did that happen? How do you play along?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I put a post out with us holding our coffees. It only stays up for a short time. Once we gather our questions, the post is removed.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I've owned the 2022 VW Taos and love it. I've noticed in your recent reviews that you don't recommend the Taos much as compared to the RAV4, CX-5, Tucson, and Sportage. Any reason, or is it due to some users having reported issues, so maybe due to its poor reliability?
Well, the main reason is that's in a different category.
Yeah.
All of those vehicles you just listed are all for sale in a category larger than the Taos. But the nice thing about the Taos is it is so big, you could get fooled into thinking that.
And I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, when we did our Seltos review and our Kona, I think that the Taos was added as for your consideration, at least one of them. I think it was the Seltos. Anyway, the Taos has had some issues, for sure, but that's Volkswagen in general. So we actually really like it. It's got a dual clutch transmission. Some find it to be a little bit jerky and prefer something smoother, like what's in the Seltos and the Kona now. But we actually think it's really good because of the space it offers for the subcompact class.
And I like the conventional Volkswagen design. Like it's got the old school kind of Golf dash, and you know, they do nice comfortable seats and lots of room. It's spacious, so it's got all that going for it. But theirs is certainly not in the class of vehicles you mentioned.
No. Is there any evidence yet that the turbocharged four-cylinder engine design that so many of these automakers are going to will be reliable?
Well, the thing that's interesting is that this has been around now for a long time. I remember Andrea and I, clear as a bell, we're going to buy an Audi. Remember, we were going to buy an A4.
A4, yeah.
And we went to the dealership, and the dealer guy was there, and he goes, "Oh, do you want to?" We wanted the V6. Let's think about that. It was available with a V6.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, they've got this new turbo four-cylinder. Do you want to drive that?" And I had driven it already, but Andrew and I were like, "Nah, we want the V6." Well, you know what? That is now spread through the entire industry, and that's been almost 20 years now. So it's not like they're new.
The Germans have been doing turbo fours for a long, long time. And I think these newer ones that are coming out in larger vehicles where they're eliminating the V6, for example, Toyota, Volkswagen has done the same with the Atlas. I think that people are definitely more concerned, and it will take time to find out if they're reliable or not. I think a lot of people feel more comfortable with the V6, especially if they're towing.
It depends on the size of the vehicle. Like for most cars, like back to the Audi A4, for example. Now, if I was going to buy one, I can't even get the V6 unless you get, if you get the RS4 or something like that, or the S4.
S4.
So I would have no problem. I would just go, yeah, that's the one I want. And
it doesn't bother me.
They're so everywhere.
Yeah.
I do agree about the large SUVs, which is a good point. If you don't like this idea, buy one now. Get
a V6 now. We actually have a follower. He lives in Texas, Josh, and his husband. They both bought the GX.
The V8.
Yes, the older model, because they wanted the last of, you know, the V8.
They're in Texas, and in Texas, we were just there, and we went by the gas station. I'm like, wow, is gas ever cheap in Texas? I wonder why they have all that oil down there. Texas oil.
Yeah, really great, guys. Really enjoy the show. I recently bought a 2006 Honda Element all-wheel drive 5-speed stick, and surprisingly really enjoy driving it. My kids call it the box. Anyway, I don't think there's anything new that is comparable, especially with a manual transmission.
Well, that was such, I can clearly remember driving that. I think it was called the manual sort of sport edition was called SC, I believe, off the top of my head. They dropped the ball on that. that Element was so, and the same thing with Toyota. They dropped the ball on the FJ Cruiser.
I know.
Like, where's the FJ Cruiser? They did one and done. Element, they kept it around really for one model, then they got rid of it. If they had actually kept that formula going, the market actually came to them. Boxy utilities, function over fashion, easy to get in and out of. Dog owners love these vehicles.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's kind of a neat little thing.
I mean, look at the new Hyundai Santa Fe. It's a box on wheels now. I think Zach and I were saying, oh yeah, it kind of reminds us of the Element. And what was the other one? The Ford?
The Ford Flex.
Ford Flex. And that didn't take off. They just needed a few more years on that one for it to really take off.
Anyway, it is cool. And if I remember driving the manual, it was just different. I like goofy cars.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be like. I mean, I never drove
kind of
it.
Similar to the manual CRV at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to that, yeah.
So looking for advice from experienced parents. That we are. We are experienced. I'm currently driving a 2018 GTI, which I love, and live in downtown Toronto. We're expecting our first soon. Congratulations. Do you think the GTI will be sufficient for the next few years, or do I have to upsize to something else? Also, any tips for car seat shopping? You know, the car seat shopping, I have to say clink. Everybody tells me that clink.
Clink?
Clink. Is it clink?
I don't know.
Clink. Clink is really good. Everyone's going for clink these days. So I don't know. We haven't been in the car seat.
Well, as I was the one who always wrestled with getting the car seats in and out, and then you get the clip-in baby seats.
Yeah.
The most frustrating part is when they're newborns, they have to be rear facing. That's when you need the most room, because that car seat has to face, but you could put it in the middle. Listen, you could easily get by with a GTI if you put your mind to it. Think of people in Europe. I mean, a GTI is a Golf. They're everywhere. A lot of people use these as a regular family vehicle. So the thing is, when they go to forward facing, then you get a little bit more breathing room. So
and I think the cargo space, you know, in the GTI is fine as well for a stroller. I wouldn't rush off. I would keep it. I would try it before
and try the seats.
Before you jump into a new vehicle, especially now. Interest rates are high. Inventory is difficult. Prices are high. Stick with your 2018 GTI and just try and get by for now.
And the other nice thing is, when the kid's older, you can tell them the story fondly. It brought you home from the hospital. We were cool parents. We had a GTI. Do you want to say you picked them up in a, Dodge Journey?
No, but it
or
doesn't
Voyager?
Have to have a Dodge Journey.
They don't even make them anymore. They don't even make them anymore.
Come on.
Do you want the minivan, or do you want to say we brought you home in the hospital in a GTI?
It's not necessary with one child.
No.
To have
when you
a
get
big
two,
vehicle.
then you're getting an Atlas after that.
Two's a different story. They say double the work with two.
That's nonsense.
I think it's more work.
Yeah.
It's more work. A quick thing. I was taking the dog for a walk, and this wonderful couple. They had two elderly dogs. One passed away a couple months ago. And what are they walking around with? They've got one elderly dog and a puppy. And the puppy's barking and jumping and being totally wild. And I ran into them and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you guys doing? They're like, oh, that is a lot of work, this puppy.
Yeah. Oh, a pro tip from parents, get lots of sleep now. Go out for dinner. Go to the movies.
Yeah.
Go out. When the baby comes, you have about 3 months where you can cart that kid anywhere you want.
Travel?
The first 3 months, they sleep a lot. So if you have to go across the country to visit grandma and all that, do it when they're first born. Because after 3 months, they wake up and they're like, ah!
The only thing is they have so much stuff. Like even this little tiny
They
person.
still do.
Remember we traveled at 3 months with Jack. We went to visit my in-laws in Toronto and we had so much stuff. I think we brought everything. We brought a bouncy swing.
Because that's the thing is, first-time parents, you're like, we need this. We can't go without that.
Yeah.
As your second one, we don't need that.
You just wing it with the second one.
That's the next one.
I know that Toyota really keeps things close to the vest. They certainly do. But have you heard anything regarding the Toyota Stout? I'm interested in the Maverick, but I would really like to have another option to consider.
Well, the internet is wild on this. There's so many renderings and sketches of people to come up with, and other people confirming it's coming. So the Stout is basically the Toyota Corolla Cross pickup truck,
Yeah.
which would go right up against
Which would,
Maverick.
yeah, it'd be great. And you know they probably have a hybrid.
And it would be hybrid. That's the whole thing is,
they might have a gas model.
I just want to say something about Ford Motor Company for a moment. Ford came out with a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 for an F-150, and everybody was like, "Who would want to put a turbo in a Ford F-150?" Well, it's sold like crazy, and they've been incredibly reliable. Then they come out with a hybrid. You can run it as a hybrid. Then they come up with a full electric vehicle. So Toyota now shows up. What do they have? They have a 3.5 liter twin turbo 6-cylinder in their Tundra.
Yeah.
They have a hybrid, and we're still waiting on something electric.
I know.
So the thing is, as much as Toyota is going to come up with something, they really are copying how successful Ford has been with that Maverick.
Yeah, with pickup trucks in general.
The Maverick
right?
is just, I love that thing.
Yeah, it's great. We almost got it.
Yeah, I know.
But you can't get one.
They wouldn't sell it to us.
And they wouldn't sell us the press vehicle. I'm sure if we waited for the Maverick, we would have gotten one, right? You two are the best. Thank you. I have a 2024 BMW i4 M50.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beast. It's so good. I love that car. Turns out that the money I'm saving from not paying for gas, I'm more than making up for in insurance.
Oh.
We were just talking about this the other day, assuming it's because of the 536 horsepower. Do you see this changing anytime soon? No, I don't think it is because of that, the 536 horsepower. Electric vehicles, if you get into an accident, are expensive to repair. And if you happen to damage the battery...
Good night, Alice.
Oh.
So you got to remember, they call it a skateboard design. You've got the wheels at the front and the back, and then the middle of the skateboard, all the way down the middle of the vehicle is all battery. So if in some vehicles, it doesn't even take that much to hit at a certain angle, and if you damage one corner of that battery, pretty much the whole battery has to be replaced, or the battery does have to be replaced. I just got an article sent from our friend Keith. He sends me all these articles from the UK, and basically some people are getting incredible sticker shock for the insurance cost for their electric car. And one brand in the UK, one insurer, has now backed out of insuring electric cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's all about the cost and the repairs, and the insurance companies have to. They also say that it can be difficult to get parts for electric vehicles. I'm sure that depends brand to brand, but yeah, they're just more expensive to fix. So that's another thing we need to consider with electric vehicles.
There's a long list.
I know. Love your show. Has any car maker indicated they watch your show or shows? And have they ever told you they've taken your critiques and or advice into consideration? Yes.
Can you name one? Because I always think they would never give us credit for that.
Well, I think that Toyota is very open to our suggestions. I have found them to be very good. Like if we said something, they're like, oh, I've never thought about that. That's good to know. I also think Hyundai and Kia are very good when we were on a Kia event, because we always bring up wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on the larger screen and how wireless isn't available. And we bring it up to them and they're like, we know.
Yeah, it's coming, they said. The other one is about the rear wiper on the Ioniq 5. Apparently that's going to get sorted out as well, but they heard that was a year and a half ago. So usually Hyundai and Kia are pretty quick about that. I don't think they'd ever really give us credit for it, because car companies, the people that run them, have massive egos, and they'll just go, oh, this is what we intended the whole time.
Yeah, we complain a lot about 3-row SUVs and having a bench seat on every trim for people. They're family haulers, right? Don't we want to haul people?
Yep.
Yes.
That's our crusade, to get through a bench seat or captain's chairs on every trim.
Every trim of every single vehicle, of every brand in the 3-row category.
Well, that's a big mountain to climb, Andrea. Are you willing to climb that mountain?
I'm willing.
Are we going to the peak without oxygen?
Yeah.
Are we going? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm down.
We're going to make it happen for you, okay? I know RAV4 and Forester are all great compact SUVs. However, I'm confused. I guess confused of what to choose.
Oh.
I like them both.
Yeah, they're both.
Forester is really open. It's so bright. We had it as a press vehicle on a really snowy week, and boy, it handled the snow like a champ. I really enjoyed it.
The tires were aces too, though. They put some good tires on it. But the other thing is, I would say I'd give the interior head to Subaru. I think the materials are nicer in the Subaru.
Yeah.
I think there's more soft touch points inside the car. They're both, there's not mentioning hybrid in there, but they're both quite efficient because one uses an 8-speed automatic transmission, that's the Toyota, and the Subaru uses a continuously variable unit, which is an in-house unit, and it's really quite good. But it really comes down to, I don't know. They're both excellent choices.
If you're getting the gas model RAV4, you will find it to be louder than the Forester.
Yeah.
For sure. If you're interested in a hybrid, then you're going to have to go with the RAV4 because there is no Forester hybrid. Although I have heard for 2025, rumors are that it's supposed to come.
So wait, wake me up when that happens because we've been waiting for a long time.
I know. One more question. Just a quick one. Love the show and you two so much that we just moved to Vancouver and are loving the views from the North Shore. Beautiful area. Unfortunately, we just lost my favorite car in a fender bender, our 2012 Mazda 5, a mix between a wagon and a minivan, looking for something similar. You know what I would say if you're looking for like a wagon feel? Subaru Outback.
Subaru Outback is definitely it's actually a real station wagon. So that was a Mazda 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun little car.
That was. I remember one of Charlie's friends.
Yeah.
Mom had that one.
Yeah, so if you're not aware, that was even 3 rows back then.
Yeah.
So you could get a Mitsubishi Outlander, which has 3 rows of seats. That's a fairly big vehicle. The other one for size,
wagon though.
Yeah.
Like a wagon look.
Yeah, really, it's Subaru. That's
it's really
it.
the Outback.
If you really like because I wouldn't say
he has a Honda Odyssey, he said. So I don't think that he really, if they need to haul some extra people.
Listen, it just came like a bolt of lightning, Andrea. They've moved to North Vancouver, which is the home of skiing, which is the home of the deep mountain biking, the guys that go flying off the mountains. People go sailing and windsurfing. It's like you will fit right in if you get a Subaru Outback. You'll be like,
if you get a Wilderness.
Yeah, you'll be like, we're from the North Shore.
You're in. There's a guy up here, he's got an Outback Wilderness in blue. And man, he's got bikes on the back. He's got gear. He's having lots of fun.
You know what you want to do? You want to get an Outback and you want to put 2 kayaks on the top and drive around. You're never going kayaking.
Maybe even a tent.
But you'll fit right in North Vancouver.
Look at the Outback and get a used one. Do it. That's it for us today. For Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
People in Vancouver are laughing. But,
I know.
But people in North Van,
true.
people even in North Van are going to laugh at that.
Do you know, we were on the Crosstrack drive event, and it was up in Kelowna. How many Subarus did we see up there?
Yeah, I just
so many.
Spin your head around.
It's like a BC thing, Subarus, and for good reason. They're great for the outdoors.
How do you play along if you want to get a question in, Andrea?
Follow along on Instagram, motormouth_Andrea. I post every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Post is up for a short period of time. Get your question in, and then it's deleted once we have them all for the show.
Yeah, we have experience with kids. There's spit up here.
Oh my gosh, the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
That's really the hardest.
Yeah, put your seatbelt on. You're in for a ride.
Unless you have a sleeper. You might have a sleeper.
Not
Our
likely.
boys were not a sleeper. Quick story, Jack was not a sleeper. And then I thought there is no way I could have a worse sleeper than Jack. When Charlie came, he was worse. How does that happen?
How do you look so good after all these years, Andrea?
I don't need so much sleep.
Good look. You look fantastic, Drea. Wow. You're better looking today than when I met you.
That's
Layer
nice,
it on
isn't
thick.
it?
Layer it on thick, boys.
Yeah, she's very good at this stuff.